Hello, and thank you for tuning in today. We are joined today by a very special guest, our newest chamber staff member, Donna Luce.
Hi,
Welcome,
Diane.
Donna. And thank you for being here on such short notice. I literally texted her this morning to see if she would be a guest today and introduce herself to all of our listeners. So welcome.
Hi, Diane. Yes, my name is Donna Luce, and I'm the new office administrator at the Howell Chamber, and I'm very excited to be there. I love it so far, and glad that you have me.
Well, we're excited to have you too, and I'm equally excited today to learn a little bit more about your journey that led you to the chamber. So why don't you take a few minutes and tell us about yourself, your background, and your career path.
Okay. I went to Eastern Michigan University. I grew up in Brighton, so I'm a long-term Livingston County resident. My children went to Howell Public Schools, so I'm very invested in the area. I got a degree in broadcasting, telecommunications and journalism. So I've worked in radio broadcasting for over 20 years, but that kind of changed. That whole business changed a little bit, and I'm very invested in events and promotions and marketing. That's kind of what I did in radio as well as on air. But I've always wanted to be more involved in the Howell area because, of course, that's where my kids went to school and where I've lived. And in my broadcasting path, I worked in Ann Arbor, I've worked in Detroit, I've worked in Lansing, I've worked in Flint, and done a lot in those communities. And I thought I'd really like to get more involved in the community that I live. And this has been wonderful that I've had this opportunity to work with the chamber.
Well, we are very lucky to have you, and so this is kind of second nature to you, so that's why you were so eager to. That's why you didn't bat an eye when I asked you this morning on such short notice, but we are thrilled to have you on board at the chamber, and so tell us a little bit about your official position and what you're doing at the chamber.
Well, as office administrator, thankfully you are training me on a lot of the duties I am doing, as far as processing payments and taking care of, and hopefully helping a lot on the Balloon Fest and being involved with that, because that's our next event coming up. And just the open air market vendors and the farmers market vendors, and just continuing to learn as I go all the things that the chamber does.
Well, we like to call ourselves the jack of all trades and master of none. But we are, like I said, we are super excited to have you on staff. And I know you talked a little bit about wanting to get involved in the community a little bit more, but what brought you to the chamber? What was that one thing that kind of said, you know what, I think this might be where my calling lies?
I think, I had discussed with you earlier, the whole networking and learning about the businesses that are already in the area and meeting some of these people, I've so enjoyed that. And I traveled outside the community for so long and had that opportunity in other cities. And I thought, I want to get more involved in the area that I live and that I've raised my kids. And so far, I've absolutely loved it, just meeting some of the business leaders that you are dealing with in the meetings that I have been able to get involved with, and just the phone calls and the people coming in. And that kind of drew me to it. I said, if I live here, I want to be involved here.
Oh, well, that's great, and it is so true. It's amazing. You step back and you've been here obviously in the Howell area for quite a while, so you think kind of what businesses are here and what the community is all about. But when you really start to meet some of the business owners and the community stakeholders and just even the volunteers and our committee members, you really begin to realize what a spectacular community this is. It's a very tight-knit and just very supportive community. Business owners want to help each other. They want other businesses to be successful, and they really work towards that common goal of, advancing that prosperity for the entire region. So I know that you've worked in Howell, you've worked in other areas of Livingston County and even outside of the county. So what do you enjoy most about working in the Howell area?
I think just meeting more of the people here. like I said, I had lots of friends outside of here from the other places that I worked, and I thought, I want to get more engaged here and meet more people in this area. When you commute outside of Livingston County, you spend so little time here because you're commuting away from here. And I missed that. I said, I live here. I want to meet more people here and be engaged here, and not have to drive all over the place to see people. Although I do enjoy meeting meeting up with the people I used to work with. But I like being more engaged here and meeting the people from here, meeting the businesses owners, getting more involved with the businesses, learning more about the businesses and the people that live here.
I know that you have a very diverse background as far as communications and marketing. What other sort of things have you done? I know you've worked for a couple other businesses within Livingston County. What other types of career paths have you journeyed down?
Let's see, I've done events, I've done food and beverage. I've done quite a bit in food and beverage. When I was in college, I was doing food and beverage to support myself. Still like that, a lot of bartending. I've worked at Mount Brighton for many years as well, and just done events and during their season, just working there. And mostly that's mostly my background with events and food and beverage and the marketing promotions. Mm-hmm. That's the bulk of it.
And so that segues really nicely in with what we do at the Chamber. We always laugh and say that obviously we're most recognizable probably for the events that we do. It's really ends up to be about 10% of what the Chamber actually does, but it takes up about 90% of our time. So that is just a huge benefit coming into the Chamber. And I know you've had a little bit of taste with the Balloon Fest so far. And that is, it's coming up quickly. It's already April, so it's only a couple months away. What are you looking forward to most about the Balloon Fest this year?
I think attending it, because I have not attended it in a few years, so I'm excited about that. And I'm just excited to be involved at the Chamber level of being, I'm hopefully being there and being able to get around. I'm a very social person, so I'm going to enjoy just kind of moving around and talking to people and seeing the whole event.
Wonderful. So how have you been engaged in the community outside of your employment and just the coming to the Chamber? Have you been involved in any larger community events? Anything fun that you kind of draws you back to this area?
Well, when my kids were in school, I was president of the PTO and got on a couple different committees with that, and thoroughly enjoyed that. I loved being involved with their school stuff, and room mom, and being at all my kids played sports, so I was involved in all their sports activities, and mostly that. I was an announcer at for track when my son ran in track and soccer.
Fun.
So that was fun doing that. But mostly through the school system, just with my kids in school here.
Mm-hmm. Now, are your kids all local as well?
One lives in Grand Rapids and one lives in Royal Oak.
Okay, wonderful. So you're kind of all nice places to visit, fun
yes.
places to go on little day trips. So why do you feel that community involvement is so important?
I just feel that if you're going to live in a community, it's good to be involved and just do as much as you can. You live here, you want to be involved. You don't want to just sit in your house and not do anything or just go to work every day. I think it's fun to get involved, and that's what I'm looking forward with the Chamber, is doing more of the events that you guys do and just being there and not traveling outside so much. And just I'm really looking forward to it, just being more involved.
Well, seems like every time I talk to you, I'm learning more and more about you. So kind of going back to your position at the Chamber, I know that you're taking on a lot of different roles, more of in an administrative position there, but how do you think that your previous employment and just the different involvement that you've had within the schools and things like that is going to, what are you hoping to bring to the Chamber?
Well, I think every position that I've had, I've looked at this multiple times, everything that you do when you travel through kind of your professional life, I've built with every position I've had. I've learned different things, and then I've taken that to the next place I've worked and learn more there, and then you take it. And I think you can become a really well-rounded person if you're open to learning all kinds of different, I've learned a lot of different systems, a lot of different processes to do things at all the different places I've worked. But I think it's important to just keep building on that, and then you take that to the next place that you go. You've already learned, for example, like maybe an Excel program that you really weren't too familiar with prior to, but I've learned that, writing up proposals, doing marketing. Social media is forever changing, so trying to keep up with that is always fun. And I've worked on websites before. So just all of that, I think, just builds and builds and builds, and you can take it to your next position.
And I think that's incredible that you have such a well-rounded, just a well-rounded, diverse knowledge of things. And again, it's not necessarily being an expert at everything, but just enough to kind of jump in. And I know that that's what we're excited about, is just that, that knowledge of the community and your event planning skills, and just being able to really connect with people. And it's been fun to watch you. Like I said, you've only been, I think, this is your 7th day,
Yeah.
and you've already just really, you just jump right in, and we love that. And I'm excited for the members to have more of an opportunity to meet you. So you'll be coming out to the events with us, and you've been sitting in on meetings, meeting everybody, and we're just excited to have you bring a different perspective to the chamber. So, what do you like to do when you're not working, when you're at home, just hanging out? What do you like to do?
Well, my most favorite thing, like I said, I have 3 children. I have 4 grandchildren, so family time. Family time is very, very important to me. I love just spending time with my family. When you've worked so much throughout your life and spent so much time on a career, it's kind of nice to just sort of back it up a little bit and start just really enjoying your family and your kids, and now my grandkids.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. My the relationship between grandchildren and grandparents is so important, and it's just for the grandkids, I think it's just a wonderful way for them to really just have that connection and just be able to have that fun space to go to with grandma and grandpa. So is there something in particular that you like to do in the area with your grandkids?
No, because like I said, 3 of them are in Grand Rapids, so we go over there and we do a lot of stuff with them there. But just kind of playing. My youngest is only 6 weeks, so she's a teeny tiny one.
My goodness, how
so
fun.
We just cuddle right now. But I mostly like to spoil them.
And you know what? As a parent of 3, that is what I love to hear. They love to hear that grandparents just want to spend time with their grandkids and have that fun connection. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure just having this candid conversation with you today and learning more about you and introducing you to the membership. And like I said, I'm just really excited for the members to be able to get to know you and meet you as we're out and about. But how can they, if someone has a specific question about the chamber or wants to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, they can call the chamber or email us, and I would be more than happy to talk to them and tell them a little bit more about me if they need it.
Well, thank you so much. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Diane.